What's up guys, it's Eric Kelly, aka the Tech Gentleman, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my long-term review of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip5, and also I want to let you know why I think this is the most important smartphone in the past decade. Before I get going, I want to remind you guys, make sure you hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Threads. I have links in the description below. Also, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you got any comments or questions, make sure you leave them down below. I'll make sure to get back to you. But without further ado, let's talk tech. So guys, like I said, the Z Flip5 has been out for about 6 months now or so. Came out in August of last year. It is February of 2024, the end of February. And I just want to give you guys, just an idea of how this phone held up. First, I want to talk about the physical piece, which I think a lot of people are going to be skeptical of or have questions about. So obviously the hinge is going to be the most important part. So unaided, unassisted, this is how far my hinge opens up. And in all fairness, it's never really opened up perfectly flat. I know that it can. My wife has one, hers opens perfectly flat. And if I went through the trouble of calling Samsung and setting an appointment, they will probably get this fixed for me somehow. I have a U-break I fix here in my town, and they've replaced folding displays. Like I have a Fold 4 that has I had the inner display replaced not too long ago, and they swapped it out fine. Same goes for the Flip 5. They ended up replacing the display of my wife's Flip 5, and it's like a 2-hour kind of turnaround time. So repairability, I definitely will look into looking around your town. If you have either a Samsung or a U-break I fix, they're an official repair partner for Samsung. If you're under warranty, they will fix it, and as long as they have the parts in and they have a spot available, normally I see about a 2-hour turnaround time, and that's for replacing displays. So if you have something less extreme than that, they could probably get it done even faster. So physicality wise, the hinge is still feels great, opens up good, closes satisfactory. And as far as angles, I feel like there's been like a little degradation on how far it'll stay open and the confidence it stays open. Like there's a little bit of play now, but it's not much, right? It's not deal breaking. And especially for what I get into later, the usability of it and the scenarios that you're probably going to be using this in the most, right? This 90 degree right here, or some variation of it, like a little bit further back, that's going to be an important angle to me, because if you're going to use it in, say, tint mode, which means that you have the front display lit up and you want to set it up and watch a YouTube video or something like that, or you want to go the other way, light the front display up, have something playing and have it sitting on this bottom and watch it that way, or using this right here to record yourself. So if you're a content creator, who this phone is definitely geared towards, this angle right here, being able to hold this consistently is, I think, a big deal. So as far as physical, I definitely say this is worth it in 2024, and it's holding up great. I haven't dropped this guy, and just as far as taking care of it, I do have a leather debrand skin on here, which feels amazing, especially once you get it on there good. It feels like the device came like this. I have it on the back and the front. But one interesting thing I did with the front is I have a tempered glass on the front. So as you can see, if you just do the leather skin on the front, you would end up with basically like a groove around the outside of it, just for the height difference. I have a tempered glass that's it's a white stone dome tempered glass, and it fits perfectly in here. So now trying to get this where you guys can see it, it is perfectly flush. Like there is no difference. If you run your finger across it, it's just one seamless transition. So it really feels like the phone on the front is leather. It feels like this is the original glass. So I'm protected from scratches and things like that. So I don't have any problem sitting it down on this back. If I do sit down in the front, the cameras are a little exposed, but I'm not too worried about that. I know when I take all this stuff off, this device is going to look brand new, which is cool. Going to the inner display, as far as how well it's held up very well. Cut this off and let you guys see, outside of normal kind of just, smudges, wipe it off. Outside of normal smudges, even the inside screen protector is held up well. I will say this though, I'm not a hold the phone to my head kind of guy. I've got tons of Bluetooth headsets and earpieces. I'm hardly ever holding the phone in my head. If I don't have one, I might put it on speaker. So consider your lifestyle, the type of person you are heavily when you're thinking about that. But outside of that, it's held up very well. Moving on, I want to talk about the value proposition, right? So this guy originally, it was $1,000. You do get the bump up in storage. This is the, I don't want to lie to you. Let's go ahead and check. For storage, where are you at? Device care. Yeah, so for storage, I do have the 512 gig version. This was a free upgrade if you pre-ordered. I think these start at $256 this year, so very good storage options for both of them. There is no expandable storage. Keep that in mind if you are shooting a lot of video. You will need to buy your storage up front. The price you can get this at now, I've seen on the resale market, $300-400 bucks, just because of all the trade-in deals. I got this guy for like $100. If we had a Flip 4, and they were literally offering, I think $900 off if you traded in a Flip 4. So a very targeted move by Samsung. They wanted Flip 4 people on the Flip 5. But if you weren't trading in a Flip 4, you could trade in other devices and you were able to get good deals. Now, fast forward 6 months later, this guy is, you know, retail with a trade-in, you could probably get like $600 somewhere in there. If you're comparing to, you know, other devices, it's kind of interesting because, say my wife, for instance, she likes the options and the flexibility it gives her as far as purses and things like that, the small size. Once you get used to being able to carry something this small, it's hard to go up to something, you know, obviously this is an extreme, you know, the S24 Ultra, but just a regular slab size phone, right? Most of them are pretty big. Even if I, you know, pull out iPhone 15 Pro, it's still bigger. And, you know, you don't, as far as weight wise, this is pretty much the same, but you just get to fold it down. And then when you open it up, you get that nice, you know, big display. It does have a little bit different, you know, aspect ratio to it, but it is plenty usable. It's bright, it's fast. This guy has Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 in it. So that's something to consider if you want something that you can, you know, put in any purse, that where you have a built-in kickstand for video recording, for vlogging, things like that. I didn't even get into it yet. This front display, being able to use this for your camera and hold it out and frame yourself up, if that's something that you do a lot of selfies, a lot of vlogging, that's, you know, these are probably the worst cameras on the foldable. But as far as front-facing cameras, these are probably going to be the best that you could use. Plus, you got two of them. You got a wide and a standard. So the flexibility there and being able to frame yourself up without having any other equipment, whether that's you sitting this on a table like this and aiming at yourself. Now you can go hands-free, do whatever you want to do, vlog, eat, record, whatever, and you don't need any other equipment when you're done. This is the package, right? This goes into any bag, any pocket, and vice versa. If you want to, you know, record something like this, sit it down in tent mode, you got flexibility, right? That's something that pretty much no other phone offers in this package. So everything is a sunshine and rainbows with it. The small size definitely comes with a price. So the battery in this guy is like 3,000 some odd milliamp hours, and you feel it, right? If you're using the camera, you're going to demolish the battery on this phone. I was able to kill this phone in like 6 hours, like 100 to empty, like 6 hours. And that's not doing any sort of stress testing, anything, you know, crazy, just normal usage, like using the phone, right? I'm getting 3 or so hours of screen on time. I know I'm a maniac because I have several, you know, social media accounts that are syncing, but still, it's noticeably worse, right? And the reason why it hurts so bad is because there is no real fast charging in this device. It doesn't support Samsung's 45-watt charging. Wireless charging is relatively slow. So when it dies or when it gets low, you're impacted heavily because you have to plug this guy in to get any meaningful charge. And when it's plugged in, if you're still using it, it's going to slow down things. So you almost have to take a break from using the phone in order to get any meaningful charge to finish out your day. And you're going to have to charge it in like at least twice a day, right? The first charge that you get overnight, and then that next charge that you get at some point later on in the day. Like, that's going to happen. So consider your lifestyle. If you're a road warrior, used to going out and staying out, you're going to need some other options. They do sell cases with MagSafe. So if you are in the MagSafe ecosystem, I would suggest buy one of those cases, grab you a MagSafe battery pack that you can pop on the back of this guy and just extend that battery life. So if this form factor really means something to you, there are ways to live with it. But going back to my statement earlier of this being the most important phone in the past decade, this phone, I think, as far as the masses go, had a lot of weight on its shoulders. If Samsung would have just came out with it the first couple of iterations and stopped, it would have destroyed any credibility for the folding phone market. But the fact that they kept going, they kept refining things, and they got it to this package here, which is a solid device. And the sales numbers show, right? Outside of the price being very affordable, people have actually been buying it. I've been seeing it in the wild. I've seen not just women using it, who I think this is really geared at, especially if you look at Samsung's marketing material, but I've seen men with it, and theirs have been beat up, and they have the 3 from a couple years ago. And I talked to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, man, I love the phone. I like that it folds down. It's neat." And when it's open, it's a phone, right? There really is no compromise, right? If you're used to doing normal phone stuff, calling, texting, surfing the web, social media, things like that, you really get no compromise with this display, and it happens to fold in half, right? I think that if there was a compromise that you got once you open it up and use it as a normal phone, then that also would have been a killer. But Samsung addressed that for the most part. They could have done some more things as far as pushing the envelope. There are phones that have a less noticeable crease. There are also phones that have better displays in their folding phones. But once again, this guy, especially with the screen on the front, the flexibility, this is one of those phones where if you get used to doing things that only it can do, once you leave, there is no substitute, right? Even, for instance, going to the Fold device, you have the option to, set it up, do some of those same vlogging, recording style things. The problem is you lose that seamless standard phone experience, right? There is no standard phone. You either get this front display, which is going to be compromised, right? It's very narrow, it's very skinny, it's a small display, you're going to compromise this candy bar style experience, whereas compared to the Flip, once it's open, you are at a full normal size phone, right? Aspect ratio wise, they know what to do. There's no wonkiness there for the most part. And then once you open it up, you're definitely out of that, standard phone category. This is a pretty much stationary form right now once you open it up. So this device, it's great at some things, but this still provides an experience that even the Fold doesn't offer. So overall, this device is leading the way as far as foldables go. The sales numbers show it. Samsung is very intentional about trying to get it into as many hands as possible with great trade-in deals. And once people have it in their hands, it delivers, right? There's something about it. There's a feeling, right? You would think that if I had a screen that folds in half in my hands, I would be nervous, but I'm not. This phone just inspires confidence. As far as the build goes, I don't worry about the hinge. I don't worry about I don't worry about anything I wouldn't worry about on a normal phone, which I think says a lot. Because on a normal phone, you're just worried about the displays, right? You got your glass on the back normally, which this would be, and you got your screen on the inside. With this closed, the screen on the inside is protected. It folds down. It's a lot more, like the odds of you dropping this are a lot lower because you're able to have such a a better grip on it. And then if you want to check something really quick, you can kind of set up your own workflow of, you know, I check, you know, I just pull out this screen, check notifications as a triage method, and I put it up, I'm done. So I think this is a great device. 2024, specs are still great. As long as you account for the battery, right? That is going to be a problem. As long as you account for the battery, I think this will be a winner and most people will be happy with it. But once again, if you guys got any comments or questions, leave them down below. I'll make sure to get back to you. Until next time, peace.